There is, however, another approach to hurricane modification that was first tested back in the 1960s, following a series of devastating storms.
Herald the approach of gales up to 170 miles an hour.
Hurricane Agnes takes 134 lives.
If only the force of the hurricane's winds could be reduced, the toll in death and damage could be greatly lessened. Is there a way? Project Storm Fury, a joint effort of NOAA, the Navy, and the Air Force, is designed to try to find one.
The time that Storm Fury began was at a period of optimism in how we could beneficially control the weather.
Scientists working on the project were convinced that they could reduce hurricane devastation using a process called cloud seeding, by spraying the thunderclouds inside the hurricane with a chemical called silver iodide. This would become known as the Storm Fury hypothesis.
Seen from directly above, the center of the hurricane is called the eye. The dense ring of clouds around the center is the eye wall, where large masses of warm, moisture-laden air rise from near sea level to great heights. Water vapor condenses in vast quantities. Some of the condensed droplets are carried aloft where temperatures are below freezing, but continue to exist as supercooled droplets. The seeding planes fly across the eye and into these clouds, seeding the supercooled water droplets from the belt of maximum winds outwards. The silver iodide acts to transform the supercooled water droplets into ice crystals, upsetting the delicate heat balance of the storm.
As the silver iodide turns the supercooled water into ice, the heat released during this process causes the seeded clouds to grow and develop into a new outer eye wall.
And the idea was that outer one would contract in and essentially squeeze off or strangulate the inner one. And as it does that, the hurricane weakens. So the theory is right. If you can make the outer part a little stronger, you'll make the very dangerous inner core, the eye wall, that's weaker.
There is
Yeah, so that goes back real far there, Don, with your speakers.
Echo.
Oh, my bad.
Those are some nice
better?
speakers though. It clears up real nice, even coming through as an echo.
Are we better? Are we good? Are we good? I'm sorry.
We are golden. You're
Fantastic.
great. Welcome back to
Even better now.
Welcome back.
Yeah, that goes back to Project Storm Fury, that's exactly what we were talking about, Don. They were trying to stop the storm from being
That was
bad,
in
and
the
it made it worse.
80s. I'm talking about 1947, October 13th, 1947.
That was in the 60s.
No, the one that we were talking about was in the 80s. Project Storm Fury was 62 to 83. Okay,
Yes.
That was a whole program that they ran. 1947 was, and you can look at this on the Atlantic, the NOAA website. This is the original where they just drove over a hurricane. They're like, well, it's past, it's in the Atlantic now. They dropped dry ice into it on a B-17 bombers, right? They dropped dry ice into it, and the hurricane did a 138-degree turn and turned back into the United States and killed people. And they were public about this because they thought it was going to be a cool thing, and the public were like, what? You just literally murdered people with a hurricane.
Stop.
And people are telling me that in 2024, they can move a hurricane.
And Don, and once they got that first taste of blood, they haven't been able to stop doing since.
They mocked Trump for talking about dropping a nuke to the hurricane to diffuse it.
Dropping a nuke on a hurricane would be a horrible idea. What makes hurricanes stronger?
Climate change, apparently.
Heat.
That's what I've been told. And racism. Climate change and racism is causing all of this. That's what I've been told from CNN.
The United Nations Environmental Modification Convention. People around the world have met about this and voted to make it illegal to do it to each other. Like it's a thing. Like they wouldn't do it if the technology didn't exist. I mean, Dubai literally had a whole flood.
Oh my
recently
God.
Because they
That was part of our
overseeded.
last week,
That's
yeah.
just cloud seeding, but that's just a different
They
thing.
make all their own islands too. Like they're doing a lot of terraforming.
Yeah.
I think I got a lot of questions last week. People were on, well, tell me, Don, how? Tell me the technology. How are people doing this?
I know. We had those crazy questions. This is how humans make it rain.
A rapidly growing population coupled with global warming means that water is increasingly set to become the world's most precious commodity. One of the solutions to this problem can be found within clouds.
An average rain cloud contains about 8 million tons of rainwater, and therefore there's a vast quantity of untapped fresh water in the sky, and this is where cloud seeding comes in, to address the growing needs for water around the world.
Most rainmaking techniques used today originated back in 1946, when scientists discovered that by dropping particles of a chemical called silver iodide into cloud tops, they could trigger rainfall. Since then, countries all over the world have experimented with different ways to squeeze rain out of the clouds. China spends more on cloud seeding than any other country in the world.
I'll put the radar on here in the aircraft so you can find the distance to that celiband. Yeah, if you can see what the distance is, that would be...
Dr. Brunjis is in Mali, West Africa, to test out a new technique he's devised with colleagues at the National Center for Atmospheric Research. It involves the use of pyrotechnic flares to deliver a special seeding material into the base of a cloud.
These are the so-called hygroscopic flares. They consist of salts inside. And as we burn them, the smoke produces the particles, the salt particles, that will then be taken up into the cloud and participate in the rain formation.
Once released into the cloud's updraft, each one of the hygroscopic salt particles becomes a seed around which a single water droplet can form. These droplets collide with each other and grow, eventually becoming heavy enough to fall out of the cloud as rain.
Oh, there's a rainbow up front here.
Weather modification today is an increasingly precise science which can reap huge benefits for the many countries that suffer from severe water shortages.
In the last few years, we've literally been on all 5 continents. A lot of our work focused on Southeast Asia, Africa, North and South America, and then also in Europe, Italy and Greece. There are currently more than 47 countries, more than 150 programs, cloud seeding programs, going on as we speak.
Cloud seeding seems to be making a change for the better for many people in the world today. But it's a science that is born out of a murky and troubled past.
All right, so that doesn't exist.
Don't believe
Nope.
your
Of course
lying
not.
eyes.
No.
Crazy.
My government loves me and they would never do anything to hurt me regardless of, all the experiments and all the files of, human experimentation and, this and that, mass
Well,
casualties.
I
whatever.
think Steve actually had come up with a good idea. It's like we may have destroyed the freaking ozone and the environment with all our nuclear testing.
That's what
And
I
then
was
we
saying,
started
yeah.
cloud seeding to try to fix the problem, but then we overdid it. But again, if you make that technology, maybe, and again, these people that are doing, these scientists, these people that are doing these things are good people. So they are good intentions, right? They're trying to do something
we
good.
went
They're
too
trying to help.
far.
For most of
but
them, I
then,
believe.
But then the technology is there. So you have government people, good government people, you build the technology, but who's actually holding these technology and who's actually in control of them? It's not these little scientists. You know, these people might fund
Bureaucrats.
These people, they fund the scientists to build these machines, but once they have the machines, who's actually in control of them? That's what, if you watch James Bond, you know, read Ian Fleming's James
Absolutely.
Bond. They talk about this a lot.
This is actually on our screen here. This is a video from our own channel. It's one of our shorts. Do you guys know who that is?
Is that Brennan? Yeah.
Yeah, it's the CIA director.
Former director.
Former
Lied
director.
under oath multiple times.
Well,
Still not
yes,
in jail,
Donald
though.
Trump.
That's what they do. But do you see where he is?
Council on Foreign Relations.
You guys know what that is? Anybody want to give a quick synopsis to our audience?
I don't
It's
want to
a-
get us banned, so I'll pass.
It's a think tank basically, and it's one of those like you know you get to, if you're an academic and you're in the right club, you get to join the Council on Foreign Relations, and they get you basically it's a think tank to tell them the politicos. It's an establishment think tank. So then when you come into office, right, you come in as a representative or a senator, or you're in a corporation, they advise you on the Council on Foreign Relations on how to do things like that. So
Handlers.
you know, and how to. So basically, they're the intelligentsia of what to do, but they're navigating. You know, the
very good explanation. Well,
Yes.
here he is, kind of giving his thoughts on climate change and controlling the weather.
Another example is the array of technologies, often referred to collectively as geoengineering, that potentially could help reverse the warming effects of global climate change. One that has gained my personal attention is stratospheric aerosol injection, or SAI.
Hold on a second.
Do you not hear it?
Why is that our intro playing at the same time?
Oh, because that's our theme song. Come on.
Oh,
A method of seeding the stratosphere with particles that can help reflect the sun.
We're the freaking Avengers of Truth here.
all right.
Damn straight.
I told you it's our short.
It was so
In much the same way that volcanic eruptions do. An SAI program could limit global temperature increases, reducing some risks associated with higher temperatures, providing the world economy additional time to transition from fossil fuels. This process is also relatively inexpensive. The National Research Council estimates that a fully deployed SAI program would cost about $10 billion yearly.
Yeah, so that doesn't
hear it
exist
at all.
either.
Oh,
You could-
I want to just. This is exactly. Let's just prove the point home. So I just sent you a link real quick. I just want to. Can you put up this article real quick and put our faces on the side there so we can just look at this?
Yeah, you can just
I just
so you
linked it
know,
in the chat.
you have a button as well. It says
Oh.
pres-
I don't know how to do that, and
we'll get you going.
You don't
for
want
the
him
next
having
thing.
that power, bro. Come
yeah,
on.
you don't want to see
Yeah.
what's on my screen.
Ugh. All right.
Hey, I'm sure your screen is still cleaner than Vosh's.
So this is just scroll down really quick. Look, 70th anniversary of the first hurricane seeding experiment. Look,
Oof. What is that, B-52?
B-17, baby, even beforehand.
B-17. Oh, wow.
This is the originals.
Impressive.
General Electric,
Operation
all right?
Popeye.
No, this isn't Operation Popeye. This is beforehand.
No.
So we're gonna
Poker
start with
Operation.
this. This is the original. This is just, I want everyone to be able to look at you. We can link this actually, Steve. If we link this in the comments on YouTube, if someone wants to post this and link this, in the comments, all right?
It won't work, but I'll
Or in our
definitely put
bio.
it in the
Put it in our
description.
bio. Yeah, put it in the
It'll be in the
description.
description. Check it for
They did
after the show.
two mass droppings of 50 pounds of dry ice, right? And it literally turned the hurricane around. So let's just start there for a second. Then we can go to Operation Popeye, which is another thing, which I think, let me pull that up. You can pull that link up really quick.
Wait a minute.
I'm gonna
Who's
put that? I have that link here. Put that up. Operation
Oh.
Popeye.
Tyler has it up on the screen. All right, I guess I don't need to do the screen anymore. There we go. Awesome. Well, I guess I do need the screen. Hold on here. Tyler. We're losing people now.
We're getting better at this.
We're not boomers, I swear.
I'm a boomer at heart, to be honest.
Operation Popeye.
Parts of me.
I yell at people like kids on my lawn.
And this was successful. They did this successfully. This was just rain seeding, no problem. This was in the 60s, okay? So it goes on and on and on. And I mean, here, and Steve, I really want you to play this clip, which I just sent you. And I apologize for not sending you sooner. So I clipped this actually from a C-SPAN clip from the 90s.
Yeah.
This is pre 9/11. Now, there's a lot of backstory to who these people are and what's talking about. So just a quick, they were basically talking to people about militias and things like that. And there's a lot of backstory which we're not going to go into, but just know that this has been being talked about for a long time.
Tyler, you could run it. It's I'm totally fine with that. Give me a little break here. There you go.
That?
Beautiful.
Oh, how do we do that? All right.
Yeah.
No sound. Click the sound. Oh, now I just see Steve. Oh,
hi. Okay,
beautiful.
Let's see here. Well, he's learning too. So bring it up. You could put add to the screen. There we go.
Can't hear him though.
Click. You got to hit the sound button.
You got to unmute
Can't hear
it.
you, Tyler.
There you go.
Okay.
So that the American government
There
has
we
created
go.
weather tampering techniques so that the New World Order will be able to starve millions of Americans and to control the rest. Would you explain what you were trying to say?
Well, what I was trying to say is exactly what I said. There is weather control techniques. We have a complete package on that, which I did not bring, but I certainly will see to it that it is brought in for the record. Number one, the entire patents on the equipment. Number two, Senator Claiborne Pell's complete statement and story of his own that not only does it exist, but that we even utilize it as far back as the Vietnam War. You might want to touch base
That's
with
all right,
Senator
but
Pell.
I just want to repeat before I turn to
So yes, but we
you're
do
saying
have
that
all
the
that
government-
information.
You're saying the government has created weather tampering techniques so that the, quote, New World Order will be able to starve millions of Americans.
Worldwide.
Millions of Americans and to control the rest.
Worldwide.
Yes, sir, and that's my
Mr.
belief.
Worldwide.
As bizarre
You know,
as
say
that
how he tried to
sounds,
pivot.
When if somebody had told me that
Like
that
it's only
equipment even
localized.
existed 10 years ago,
Oh, I thought
I
that
would
was
have
Ted
thought
Cruz.
they were nuts, sir. And at this point in time, we have all the documents to prove it. And if you think that 85 tornadoes takes place in the middle of our growing area by simultaneous accident, I'm sorry. With the equipment that's already set up internationally, and as bizarre as that is,
Well said.
it is proven and documented. We will supply you with those documents. As bizarre as that is, I would say that weather wars, and this is quoting actually Senator Claiborne Pell himself, that they are the greatest weapon ever created in the world, and that's the senator's own statement. So yes, I do stand on that.
Thank you, Mr. Fletcher. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Crazy.
June 16th, 1995.
Yeah.
Actually,
All right.
speaking of 1995, I have prepared. Well, I didn't prepare this. Some wonderful people back in 1995 did. But this talks about HARP.
Wait, was this from 1995?
This is actually also it's a
That Senate
1995.
This is very
documentary.
interesting. So we didn't plan that. So this has been going on for a long time. So 1995 was how many years ago? 30
Almost
years
30 years
ago.
And,
30
and,
years
and,
ago.
and this is what they were
years ago.
30
and
years
this is
ago.
what they
Think
were
how much
working with
how
then.
ChatGPT has advanced in
2-3
Right.
years.
So now we're working with
6
lasers
months
and all that. But dude,
All right, check this out.
all right, roll the tape.
In 1993, the FAA started warning pilots to stay away from a certain section of airspace over Alaska. The U.S. government was experimenting with a new breed of high-altitude electronic technology that was significantly altering the Alaskan airspace. The experiments continue to this day, and critics are warning that this project could have global effects that will destroy our planet. In Alaska, the rugged, pristine wilderness is timeless, most of it remaining just as it has for thousands of years. In the midst of all this natural beauty, just outside the small town of Gakona, stands an enormous and seemingly harmless antenna farm. It is a $100 million Air Force project known as HARP, and critics of the soon-to-be completed facility charge it just may turn out to be the ultimate doomsday machine.
It's got all the marks of Dr. Strangelove on it.
HARP is an acronym for High Frequency Active Auroral Research Program. According to program manager John Hesher, HARP is a research facility designed to study the ionosphere.
All the military have communications, surveillance, navigation systems whose paths either traverse the ionosphere or reflect from it. And so we need to be very careful about we know about it and how we study it. What we're interested in is what is the effect of a large input of energy on the ionosphere.
The ionosphere is the outermost layer of the Earth's atmosphere. It is part of an electromagnetic field that keeps out harmful solar and cosmic radiation. One visible effect of the sun's rays hitting the ionosphere is the aurora borealis, known as the northern lights. The ionosphere also plays a vital role in worldwide radio communication.
The first transmission of radio waves across the ocean were quite a surprise when it was first done. People thought there'd be no chance to transmit the signals across the ocean by wireless. And in fact, what the ionosphere does is act like a mirror. And so you transmit a signal and it bounces off the ionosphere and then it bounces off the Earth.
When HAARP is fully operational, it will transmit extremely powerful blasts of high-frequency radio waves directly up into the atmosphere, superheating the electrons that make up the ionosphere. This will cause them to disperse, effectively punching a hole in the ionosphere.
But after you turn the instrument off, this thing kind of moves around and it gets replenished. And within a few minutes, it's back to where you can't even detect that there's a hole anymore.
The Air Force says that manipulating the ionosphere and studying the effect will allow them to improve the efficiency of communications, navigation, and surveillance systems. But researchers outside the military see HAARP as a high-tech weapon with global implications.
The way I see HAARP as it is right now, it is a premier, top-notch, high-energy radio physics experiment, and has definite military applications.
Journalist Mark Farmer lives in Alaska and has written about the potential impact of HAARP for both Jane's Defense Weekly and Popular Science magazine. He believes that HAARP will be used to take giant X-rays of Earth.
Earth-penetrating tomography is a technique using extremely low-frequency radio waves. Today in geophysical probing, scientists will use explosives or a machine that thumps the ground to produce these waves, but HAARP will stimulate the auroral electrojet to make an antenna thousands of miles long that will emit these ELF waves.
Farmer's research indicates that the extremely low-frequency waves would be capable of penetrating several kilometers into the Earth, ferreting out nuclear storage facilities and other underground military installations.
This is producing surveillance systems able to detect stealthy cruise missiles and aircraft. These are systems that will enable us to communicate at higher data rates and at greater distances with our ballistic missile submarines.
While the Air Force insists HAARP is not an offensive weapon and is necessary for continuing national security, Alaska native Nick Begich proposes a different scenario in this new book.
The things that we found in other Air Force documents, one in particular was a document put together in '82. The document was called Low Intensity Conflict in Modern Technology, with a foreword by none other than Newt Gingrich. In one section spoke about using radio frequency radiation transmitters for disrupting human thinking, for basically debilitating troops invisibly by being able to bombard them with radio frequency that was tuned to just the right frequency, in just the right waveform, so as to totally disrupt their mental process and basically debilitate those troops.
Because of HAARP's potential to disrupt the Earth's magnetic field, many observers are concerned that it will damage the biomagnetic sensors that migratory animals like salmon and birds depend upon.
Anything that HAARP can do to the magnetic field is orders of magnitude smaller than the natural variations of the Earth's field. So I would have to say, no, there's nothing we can do to affect the salmon.
But what generates the most concern by far is HAARP's ability to tamper with and punch holes in the ionosphere.
The thing that one of the Air Force documents points out is that they want to use this heater to create enough energy in the ionosphere to get a runaway effect up to the next stabilizing level, whatever that might be.
It's precisely whatever that might be that worries Dr. Patrick Flanagan, a physicist who believes the ionosphere is extremely fragile.
The ionosphere is a chaotic system that is on the edge of instability. So the trigger point for HAARP would be that energy and that frequency which throws the ionosphere into chaos. In other words, it would be that point which throws it over the edge.
For example, it is believed that a hole in the Earth's ozone layer has caused an increase in infrared radiation, contributing to the melting of the polar ice caps and forcing New Zealand children to wear protective clothing to school. Flanagan and others believe the potential danger from a hole in the ionosphere is much greater.
You could create a change in the ionospheric shield that protects us from cosmic radiation. We're worried about the ozone layer. The ozone layer is nothing compared to what HAARP could do. You know, we're worried about ultraviolet light. That's just a very harmless ray compared to some of those energy streams or particles that are coming from outer space that are being deflected by this natural shield around the Earth. And this is what HAARP wants to play with.
Critics worry that HAARP has been placed in the hands of too few, and that international debate is necessary to fully explore all the potential dangers that this project may soon unleash, a proposal in which the Air Force has shown little interest to date.
Once we open this box, and it is a veritable Pandora's box, we're not going to be able to close it. And of course, once you acquire a technology, you want bigger and better aspects of it. And then we come into the questions of whether or not, if we go big, if we go better, if we're going to cause damage to our planet.
Proponents of HAARP insist the danger has been grossly exaggerated. The project continues to move forward as scheduled and will be fully operational by 1997.
Next, they started an
Wow. All right. So I got a follow-up video for that. I'm really sorry to interrupt, but I have to play this. It's only 2 minutes. And it goes with that. And it'll make our conversation so much better. Just watch. This is going to be about the non-lethal active weapon called the active denial system. This is from 12 years ago. So it's...
Marines and several other DoD representatives
okay?
had quite the heated demonstration at Quantico, Virginia from the Joint Non-Lethal Weapons Directorate.
Okay, good.
I can hear it fine.
Move away from
Perfect. For some reason, I don't hear any volume
this
on
is
it.
a military area. Move away from the perimeter.
Their new active denial system boasts a reach far beyond any other non-lethal system.
Well, it's a versatile system, and it has a range of non-lethal capability that we can't even come close to with any of our fielded systems today that are in our military forces.
About 7 football fields to give it some perspective. It can deter individuals on a military perimeter all the way up to a riotous crowd. All without permanent harm.
It only penetrates 1/64 of an inch of your skin. Goes very shallow into where your nerve receptors are. And there's
Whole lot of PSI.
no permanent injury caused by it.
It's a heat
very
ray.
safe system. We built in some safety margins and training for the operators.
They even let any of the guests volunteer to test out its effectiveness and safety, including the Assistant Commandant of the Marine Corps, Sergeant Major of the Marine Corps, and Assistant Secretary of the Navy. Most described it as feeling like a hot oven or grill being opened up.
It is something that, once again, probably the safest system that we've developed as far as the non-lethal capability.
From Washington, I'm Sergeant Andrew Milner.
That's interesting.
Which, I mean,
yeah.
Granted, it is actually a cool technology because for crowd control, for riot control, you know, I'd rather shoot them with a heat gun that's not going to actually hurt them than kill them with rubber bullets or
You don't
gas
know
or things
that.
like that.
You don't
no,
know
but
that
still,
it's that.
you know,
No,
things-
no,
tear
the
gas
whole-
is dangerous.
Non-lethal, non-lethal.
But
It is
the reason
tear
that
gas
the
is
reason
dangerous,
that I
rubber
brought it
bullets
up,
is dangerous.
the reason that I
Directed
brought it up
energy.
is that that's another. I guarantee you that was made in the same freaking lab, or at least similar lab to HAARP, and they're weaponizing this stuff. But the reason that I wanted to play that is to show that things like that are also weapons. They're just used on a more massive scale for similar means.
It's all directed energy, and
Correct.
that's really what it is. And HAARP, what people need to understand is it's science, it's physics, it's shooting energy. You know, in the 40s they were shooting bombing dry ice, dropping dry ice into the eye of the hurricane or whatever. But now it's directing, then it was HARP was directing, kind of radar type of stuff like energy into the ionosphere. And now it's satellites with lasers shooting
even
in.
like
The only
heating up
difference,
the water.
the only difference between what we were using for guns for a long time and what we're going to be using guns in the near future is the size of the bullets. Instead of it being a piece of metal, it's going to be microscopic particles all being fired at once. That's all it is.
It's the directed energy, I think, is what people need to understand. The technology and how it evolves, and weather manipulation, it's there. It was by lasers. And I think we'll probably have to deep dive into some Tesla technology. I think we need to talk about Tesla and Donald J. Trump.
Absolutely.
As his freaking brother.
Sure.
I think we kind of teased
Tesla
that
Towers.
a while back, being the MIT professor, the longest serving MIT professor, tenured MIT professor in history, as the guy the FBI hired to check out Nikola Tesla's patents. I mean, this technology's there. It's been there for a long, long time.
Well, speaking of which, you guys seen the Northern Lights the past few days, and it was kind of strange. Right after the hurricane, right, Don? And it just, it definitely brought up a lot of questions. Was this a normal thing to happen, or could it be something different? So, I don't know. What do you think, guys?
Well, they always say, after the HARP, it's always the HARP. You'll see the aurora borealis, and there is differences between the actual aurora borealis coming from the sun, and then maybe some more things we're doing here, manipulating our own weather. And a lot of people, we're talking about weather manipulation and things going on over this hurricane, and then suddenly all over the country, people are sharing photos of northern lights.
I got
in places that never have seen them before.
Texas.
Perfect. Let's watch this right here.
It looked like someone brushed a pack of neon highlighters across nature's ceiling. A tie-dye sky draped across much of the country. Wisconsin, New Jersey, the U.S. capital. In Indiana, it was as if Earth's atmosphere decorated for Christmas early. The Aurora Borealis is a show with admission typically reserved for colder climates like Alaska or Iceland. But last night, this northern light was a southern sight. It stretched to Texas, Alabama, Florida. The reason for such a heavenly display, an unusually mighty solar storm created by a huge burst of energy known as a coronal mass ejection. Experts warned all that energy could have disrupted power or communications down here on Earth, but all it seemed to do was power our wonder. And odds are good many across the country will see it again soon. A rare kind of storm lighting up the sky in the best way possible. Joe Fryer, NBC News.
Totally
Crazy.
Normal. Nothing to see here, guys. Swamp gas.
Yeah, it's normal for Texas to be seeing the northern lights.
And
Weather
Florida,
balloons and
Northern
swamp
Lights in
gas.
Florida. Yeah, nothing to see here. It's totally a rare phenomenon, guys. Very cool.
But the thing is that it's happened like 4 times this year.
You hear what the news station said? More to
That's
come.
wild.
More to come.
More to come.
Oh yeah, more to come. So
With
like you
that-
had brought up about
Why did you
like
say
the
it
Northern
that way?
Lights and stuff.
More to come.
But think about this: when certain things happen, right? So if you're breaking through the atmosphere, so how are like rainbows and northern lights and all this and that? A lot of them have to do with affecting, the particles
Frequency,
in the atmosphere.
particle.
So if something like a beam hypothetically is coming through, it would leave an after effect in the atmosphere because it has modified,
Thank you.
the moisture.
Have a good night.
Wait,
Go ahead,
what?
David.
We had a comment come up on the screen. They were
Oh,
saying,
I didn't see it. I'm like, what?
oh, they
Am I
said
dismissed?
good night.
Like what?
Yes, Broomstick Rider said good night, guys. I'll watch the
Oh
rest
my god,
tomorrow.
I don't.
Great show
I don't know who
tonight.
she is, but she sounds evil.
No.
But
We thought we
yeah.
were
So
gonna
like I
calm
was saying, gotta get back on track. So yeah, so my whole point about like the Northern Lights right after all these hurricanes and stuff is, and I'm not like, poking too big of a stick, but I'm just saying like hypothetically, it would kind of make some sense if you have some type of massive, event from an outside source that is affecting weather coming through the atmosphere, and it would leave a trace of it, I'm just asking questions, as someone once said.
I'm just asking questions. But don't ask some questions.
I just think, guys, that it's the most incredible thing to me is the fact that so many people were talking about it after this time. That the veil has been lifted. People are asking questions about everything, especially after COVID. Everything now, people are like, maybe we shouldn't just take the word from the government. We should think about things. And I think that is just the absolute most important thing that's happening.
Agreed.
It gives me confidence. I mean, really, I really do believe the universe orients towards justice, and that light will always defeat the darkness, because darkness cannot overcome light. It just cannot. It's just physics.
Speaking of dawning, you know what dawned on me the other day?
Boy.
Listen.
Oh, what is this? This is a surprise. Little surprise, little for the tail end of the show, Steve.
Yeah, a little surprise.
All
So
right.
I've noticed we're the great reveal, right? And I know it has to do with the apocalypse and lifting of the veil, but I realize we're
Is that Bill
basically
Gates?
It is Bill
Is that
Gates.
Bill?
It
Bill?
is
Big Bill.
basically the opposite of the Great Reset. So we're the Great
Yes,
Reveal.
it
The Great
is.
Reset, they're trying to do things secretly. But for people that don't know what the Great Reset is, and I think next week we should get into the Great Reset, maybe, because we could definitely get in some. But this was a short I posted. It's called "Is Your Freedom at Risk? The WEF's Secret Plan Revealed." If nobody's noticed, you see that little circle there? On his lapel. Yeah, a lot of these people have been wearing this, and I was like, really, like, what the hell is this? But if you look, it shows you a little bit. It's a silly little 30-second clip. Check it out. And there's
Soros' son with Trudeau.
All right, so I'm gonna go ahead and pause these here. So can you guys see it? Okay, I'm gonna bring it up even higher.
Yeah, zoom in a little bit.
Yeah, Alex Soros and Justin Trudeau both are not interested in women, but
Well, a lot of
married to
different
women,
leaders have been seeing
ironically.
this. So this is from the UN Agenda 21 to 2030. I would say that's also the World Economic Forum's involved. But here actually coming up is going to be their spokesperson. So can't see it.
But what we know is that we will end up with many more unemployed, and particularly also people in the gray economy, which are not counted for, who lose their jobs. So we will see definitively a lot of anger already now, but probably increased by the end of the year, because this crisis will be with us until we really have found a remedy. So we have to prepare for a more angry world, and how to prepare.
Yeah. So thoughts?
Yeah. Very bad, dude. They're all a bunch of scumbags, and they don't like
He's
you.
proud to wear it. He's like, oh, I'm gonna wear this.
Can we
and
find
destroy the whole plane?
Before we go, while we talk, I want you to find the photo of him in that spacesuit. It looks like a James Bond villain. Just for
Oh my God.
That was at a summit, not G7. It was one of those
I mean-
big things.
You know, it's interesting that the Georgia Guidestones were like destroyed, right? You know, what timeline are we living on and what's
Oh,
going on?
dude
Because I
bombed
mean,
it,
in a
yeah.
way, it would be good to have a global society, but in a way, we can't have it centralized. Again, we have to have decentralized. Like if the world worked kind of like the United States works, right? How we have all the governors, we have the states, you know, we have a weak federal central government is how you want to have it. Because I agree, I want everybody in the world to have free speech. I want everyone in the world to be like America, honestly. But
Oh,
so
God.
I see. Yes,
Like I said before,
this
Don,
is
like, we
real
wrote the
life.
blueprint.
He wore
Don.
this. Yeah, we wrote
Yeah.
the blueprint exactly. So
They can all
we
copy
wrote-
it.
They do not.
And I
trust this
encourage them to
blueprint.
copy it.
Yes,
Dude.
copy this
Oh my
blueprint
God.
and make it global. Fine.
Don't look like a supervillain if you're trying to not.
Bro, they don't even
Be
care
one.
at this point. His second in command, what's his name? Something Novel Harari, right? He goes
stepped
on a
down.
lot of podcasts and stuff.
at this. Look
he
at
stepped
this.
down.
The chancellor, I believe Klaus Schwab is stepping down. He's not like part of that.
Well, Klaus
thing.
Schwab, he's like the main guy. So if he's stepping down,
They're
I
like
don't,
shark's teeth, bro. There's
yeah,
always
it's-
someone.
it's
look-
not-
Of course.
That's not like he's super old and everything, and he's like he don't need nothing. But his second in command, Noel something Harari, Bro, some of the stuff that he said, like he's not even like it's so far on the nose. Like he's talking about like humans are dumb and they need to be reprogrammed and
Useless eaters.
that's one of his quotes. Yes, absolutely.
Listen, I
so far on
benefit
the
of the,
nose.
are they wrong?
No, they are utilitarian. So if you were
Yes.
to call them
Pragmatic.
pragmatic, yes. So it's a whole thing about like the moral dilemma.
If
Are
you
they
take
moral?
the
No.
shot,
Are they right?
Who cares?
Maybe.
If you do it, you took the shot. You did it. You knew. If you don't know.
Right, that's
They're-
the whole point. But the thing is, going back to an early part of our thing, feed us fluoride to make us dumb, call us dumb, and try to get rid of us. It's a process.
Get rid of some of us, and the other ones they want to
don't
keep
need
like in
all
a
of us because
surf
in a world-
class.
In a world
They-
of automation, they don't need.
They
all
want
of
to
us.
make low class dumb people that you know, okay, you will live in the pod, you will eat the bugs, you know.
We're gonna get replaced with robots.
Robots will have a place. Humans still will though. Like they're not trying to erase us, but we're not going to be at the top of the hierarchy anymore. Maybe.
I've seen the book, The UN Agenda for the 21st Century. I've
Yeah.
seen someone
They
who had
publish
it.
it.
They had a actual published copy. I've seen it in person, hand to
Probably
God.
still get
seen
it.
and they, and it was just absolutely incredible, and it is there. And obviously, their plans were set back by a man named Donald J. Trump for whatever reason. And
God
you know
bless
what?
him.
I think Musk is
And
right.
in-
We're gonna
in
have these
2
technologies.
weeks.
We need to do it right.
2 weeks.
Yes.
Musk
Musk is absolutely right.
So you know what's
because
crazy?
you can't stop the flow.
You know
Right,
what's
you
crazy?
just have to manage it.
You know what?
Bingo.
Have you noticed that? So remember, these people are accelerationists, but have you noticed that Elon Musk has been accelerating a lot of his projects? He knows the end is near.
What do you mean the end, Steve?
The end of
this
the old
episode?
world. No, that and also
The fourth turning.
he knows the exactly.
We'll talk about that, Damien. We should have a whole conversation.
He
about the
knows
tournament.
the
Thank you.
end of
The
old world.
regime.
It's the end. Look, can we just speak real quickly? The age of Aquarius is upon us.
Right.
The age of
Came out of
Pisces
Kali,
is what
right?
we're ending at. That's why you have the Jesus fish, right? We all know this. The age of the ram, the age of Aries was the age of the Jews, with the ram's horn. The age of Taurus was before that, the bull. the golden calf.
And they were told no longer to worship the golden calf.
Correct. And now
Because it
we
was
are
the
entering the
transition.
age of Aquarius. That's why our youngest, my young children,
Gen
are
Alpha.
the Alpha generation. They are going to grow up in a
Alpha
world. But what's interesting, and I was thinking about this the other day. I'm talking to my son, and he's 5 years old. We're just talking about. He's already looked through a telescope. He's seen an eclipse. He went to the eclipse this year, and he's seen the moon through the telescope and things like that. And we're talking to him, talking about the solar system and things like that. Our generation is so much more aware of things and just the way things are that we're a transitional, like Joe Biden was a transitional president. We're a transitional generation, the millennials.
We
What
knew how
we're
it
gonna
was. We
teach
knew where
our
we're going.
kids- What we're going to teach our kids, that generation is going to save the world.
We unfortunately got the shit end of the stick. We got the.
We still have the best life. We still have iPhones and Chick-fil-A. So screw
Listen,
you.
we,
Steve.
but
and Starbucks
I'm talking
and
about
coffee.
overall.
There's a cost to that, though.
There's an
a
overall-
cost to that
No.
luxury.
There's power. We have powers, Damien. With great power comes what?
Responsibility,
Great
absolutely.
responsibility.
But at the same
As
time,
the poorest American is more wealthy than
correct.
some of the poor.
Correct.
I
than
agree.
some of the wealthiest people. In other,
I agree, but let me say something. America is not going in the direction of the generational betterment. For the longest
up
time
until
in America,
Donald Trump, absolutely.
No, it
well,
is. It is, though. It is. The pendulum is swung. People are fighting back. Do you see what's happening?
people are fighting
People
back.
are coming
Yes,
back in
but
a
the reason
big
that
way.
but the reason that people are fighting back is because we were the generation
It got
that,
so bad.
that it got so bad, and we were the generation that was bad times create good.
That's literally what I said about the fourth turning. The weak,
That's-
the good times,
times
in the
create
80s
weak
have
men.
created the weak men
Right.
of the 2000s.
And that's who's been in
Weak
charge.
men
Now they've
create
created
hard
bad
times.
times.
Hard
So guess
times
what?
create strong men. And
What are
that's
we
what
in?
we are. Strong men create good times.
Good times.
We are in the hard times right now.
right.
We're in the hard times, and we need to stay strong, everyone. Filter
And
your
it's-
water. Take
it's
your
gonna get rough.
vitamins, And
Yep,
stay
wear
strong.
a helmet
stay
and
right,
strap it.
Go vote.
And
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 drink
on
water.
that note,
Oh.
We have a great reveal from Tyler today. He, I guess, has some.
Oh, it's the great reveal. It's a good fortune cookie from Tyler.
We're gonna outsource our great reveal to China now.
We are outsourcing the great reveal today to Mr. Tyler.
This was not planned at all.
Mr. Tyler cookie. Oh, Ty Ring.
Oh, wait. Fortune cookies.
Wait. Did you know? Did you know
he got
that
the
in
good
World War
ones, too.
II,
Shit.
they used a secret code word that the Americans would use that the Japanese could not pronounce? You know what that word was?
Lululemon.
Lollapalooza. Because the Japanese could not say it. They would say,
Raraparuza.
Raraparuza. And then we know the Japanese. So that's where Lollapalooza came from. Anyway, with that,
Funny
Tyler.
story. That's why the guy that invented Lululemon actually knew that, because he thought it was.
He did say that he was.
The damn Chinese attacking me.
So that
Anyways.
Ruru
All right, Tyler.
makes good
So who
butts.
gets? So who
Anyways,
gets the?
so I got fortune cookies, and each one's gonna have a fortune for us. It might be
Do it up.
significant. So we're
There's
gonna do
four.
it.
There's four. We each get a cookie.
You gotta.
Yes,
who gets the first one? You gotta pick.
All right, so just like tarot cards, Tyler's
Well-
got to talk to somebody. He's got to feel it to see what's warmer.
Yeah, that's right.
Ooh, you know what?
We'll have an episode
Can
on
we
tarot cards.
choose like a tarot cards? Can we get like 4 to choose from?
So I'm gonna. No,
Why don't we
here's what we're gonna
randomize it?
do.
Why don't
Well, we
just
don't
roll
need
the
to
dice?
do
I'm
that
just
right
gonna
now. We'll do that
I'm
some
just
other
gonna-
time.
Listen, everybody. Hey,
Tarot
we're gonna read the
cookies?
fortune, and then we're gonna say what the fortune actually resembles for the.
No.
person
You gotta stick it to somebody, right?
Yeah, it's got to connect to
You
somebody.
gotta connect to somebody.
Pick one of us.
Okay.
So wait a minute. Hold on a second. Hold on.
Let's,
Tyler, pick a number
What?
1 through 3. No.
Okay.
How do we do you? You're gonna be
Tyler's
last.
is just
You're
the
gonna be-
last one,
Tyler's
yeah.
gonna be last. So you're gonna pick a
Tyler
number 1
needs to
through
feel the
3.
heat.
Steve, we're all gonna pick a number 1 through 3. And we're all gonna hold up a number. Tyler, take a number 1. Actually, Tyler, take a number 1 through 3. I guess 10. How do we do this?
Okay, 3.
All right, everyone, hold up a number. 1, 2, 3. Tyler, what number were you thinking?
2, 3.
You said the number.
Tyler, me and you are spirit animals now.
Listen, I've had a glass of wine, but
All right, it's for
Damien is
Damien. This one's for
Damien,
Damien.
yeah.
Nope, this
It's
one's for
not meant to
Damien.
be.
I just want this is for Damien.
It's gonna say you're gonna die and nobody loves you.
This is for Damien. For
It's
this
gonna
one.
say,
I don't
"Help!
know
I'm
why.
trapped in a fortune cookie factory. There's a suicide net
so
on every
this is
side of the
what we
building."
have for Damien, everybody.
Experience is what you get
Read it.
when you don't
Experience
get
is
what you
what
want.
you get when you don't get what you want.
That's actually
That's a
not
great
so
one.
far off base, to be honest, because I have been through a lot of BS in my life, and I've gotten a lot of experience from it that I've been trying to make to use, as a launch board to make me a better man. So, yeah.
That's beautiful.
Jordan Belfort said that. Wolf on Wall Street guy. He's like, dude, your failures and all that stuff, that's just experience, bro.
Learn from it. If you don't learn from it, it's not an experience.
And I got a coin. And I gotta say something
coin.
about experience.
Failure,
repentance
the
and
greatest
stuff, right?
teacher it is.
Repentance.
Gotta learn from it.
Repentance is I have a challenge coin, a Masonic challenge coin. So repentance
next?
is a word, the Greek word metanoia in the Bible, and it means basically the changing of mind, right? So you're repented from your sin when you've changed yourself. So when your experience has changed you into a better person, you are unburdened from your sins. You are repented.
I will.
Would
I
you
will
say
one,
unburdened from what has become?
Yes.
Burdened from...
Don,
you don't
on
get
on
what
that
you
note,
want.
you and me had a very long conversation once about how the idea of changing your mind, it's such a basic term people use. Oh, let me know if you change your mind. But changing your mind is so deep.
Well,
It's
if our
such a-
minds create our reality, we're
Yes.
literally
Right.
changing
Your perception
our
is your
mind.
reality.
Right.
It's so deep.
The Nietzschean
We're changing our
philosophy.
beliefs. It's like the in the Matrix, right? Neo could not jump the building until he believed he could, until he changed his mind.
He didn't know martial arts until he said that he could.
Right. So all right,
Flip
heads
that
or
coin.
tails.
Philosophy,
Heads or tails.
like power-
Heads or tails, Steve. So
I think therefore I am.
Tyler. So
Tails.
Tails. All right,
So,
tails. It's Steve.
Tails.
Tails. It's Steve. All right, Steve's fortune. Let's go.
I had a feeling this was going to be Steve. I just have a good energy today. So let's see.
He put this one
right.
You always have good energy, Tyler. Much love.
This is anytime. Okay, so this one is for Steve. Haste does not bring success.
Haste makes waste.
That's a good one.
Haste does not bring success. Can you relate?
I needed that right now. Yeah. Oh yeah. I'm gonna leave that
Oh.
between me and the fortune cookie, but
Steve Jobs said
That's
that.
a good one.
Better fast than perfect, but haste
Do it
makes
right.
waste. And I think there's a term in the special ops use where it's fast is slow or slow is fast. What is it? Slow is fast, slow is smooth, fast is.
I
can't remember exactly what it is.
I will
Fast
say
is
one
slow,
thing.
slow is
I
smooth.
like the 5 P's. Proper preparation prevents poor performance.
I will say one thing. I do like to prepare a lot, as you guys see with the shows, but in my personal life, I think I sometimes rush things and I need to really slow down.
You do.
And that's definitely something I gotta do. 'cause
You
it freaks me
overthink
out.
things like me too. We all overthink.
Yeah.
We have to calm
We're,
down.
we're,
and just-
we're at
Quieting
a high
our-
capacity.
Quieting
I
our
do,
mind is
but I
very
gotta slow
important.
down.
And we should have a whole episode on the pentagram and why our quieting our mind is very important. But the quote is
And why
slow
pentagram's
is
not even
smooth.
bad.
Remember this, guys. Slow is smooth. Smooth is fast.
And
Slow
baby
is
oil
smooth,
makes all that
smooth is
happen.
You beat me to it, you son of a bitch.
It's just done.
Wait, should we flip a coin, Tyler, or should you just give that one to me?
No.
Just
So
give it
here's
to
the
him.
thing.
He
I
goes
already know
last.
my fortune. I haven't told you guys for the whole show.
Okay, so this
I
one's
already
for
know
me
what it
then.
is.
All right.
Monkey
But you
punch.
opened your cookie earlier?
I did, because this is really a significant one for me. So I really like it because it kind of relates to my life. And
With my fortune there,
Do
Mr.
it up.
Tyler.
Can we do this
All right,
every
so-
week? This is great.
Do you like this?
Actually,
I'll
an
just keep
awesome
buying them in
idea,
the
too.
supermarket. They're great.
Tyler's
you got
gonna
a
get
box set,
fat
that's
because he has to eat all of them.
No, they're like-
they have
they're
a
like
lot of-
That
cardboard.
Chinese bioweapon.
I mean, you see the
Cardboard, bro.
ingredients right
There's
there.
no fat
What does
in
it say right there? It says
Cardboard.
soy.
Yellow number 5, yellow number 6. I thought we were on Sober October from Chemicals.
Oh,
Project.
I'm not eating it. They're just all on the ground here. They're going through the
He's
dog.
just cracking it and throwing it to the orphans.
Okay, here we go.
I have not eaten fast food once this year.
Okay, what is that?
Fear is just
Fear's
excitement.
just-
In
Need
need
of an attitude
Attitude
adjustment.
adjustment.
That's a good one. That's
You
You
that's
know,
a good one.
interestingly enough, I've been listening and reading Dune, the book Dune.
Hell yes.
Very
Ro-
good book.
Herbert,
And honestly,
what was his
it
name? Robert Herbert, amazing
yeah,
author.
It was very hard for me to
Frank
get
Herbert.
into it.
Frank Herbert.
Frank Herbert until I watched the movies. And I watched and I love watching the movies before I read a book. It makes
So you
it
know
so
what's
much
funny?
better.
You got
I've
the
never
details.
watched the movies for Dune, but I've read the books. I've literally never watched the
Movies were amazing, but reading the books now, and there's a great quote in there, and I'm gonna actually pull up the full quote. But read that, Tyler. Read that quote. Read that again, just real quick.
I'm curious. What is the attitude adjustment for you, Don? I'm curious because fear is just excitement in need of attitude adjustment. don't think
I
you
have
an
I have an idea about that
No.
because if fear
Or
is
you- I
clouding
mean,
your mind and fear is keeping you away
Yes.
from things, it can change your
Yes.
attitude to
You
be
have
more
to
perceptive.
change. You have
and
to change your
going-
mind.
You got to go towards things more. So it's like don't let fear run your
let
life.
fear
Essentially, don't let
take
fear
your
cuck
life.
you and put you in the corner chair in the hotel room. Like
Correct.
so, like
Don't let fear baby oil you up.
yes.
I'm gonna read this quote from Dune because it's so
Dark.
profound. I've been actually quoting it in my life, but then I'm also gonna break it down a little bit. They say it as the Bene Gesserit. They say it. I must not fear. Fear is the
Fear
mind
is the-
killer. Fear is
Fear
the
is the
little
mind
death
killer.
that brings total obliteration. I will face my fear. I will permit it to pass over me and through me. And when it has gone past, I will turn the inner eye to see its path. Where the fear has gone, there will be nothing. Only I will remain. And
Those
fear,
books were amazing.
if we know about fear and anything about
beautiful.
energy and demons and
Okay.
things like that, fear, the movie It, the book It, Stephen King It.
Yes.
What was its power?
Fear.
You being afraid
That
of
was
it.
the only power.
The second you were not afraid of it, it had no power. And that is everything in life. When a demon, you look at a demon and you say,
Similar
I do
to
not fear you, demon. I do not
Freddy
fear you,
Krueger.
Satan. And you spit in its path.
Freddy
I
Krueger.
fear not the fear because
fear
fear
not
is
the
the
fear.
mind killer. And that's all they want us to do.
Yep.
Because if we
You want us
fear,
to fear.
we vibrate into that frequency. We
So-
harmonize with fear.
Yes.
And we bring that into our
So
existence.
on
You
that
also
note, Don,
neuter yourself when you fear it.
True.
Correct.
on that
Really is
note,
true.
I wanted to say something because I could definitely see as we're growing, people may be accusing us of pushing fear porn, but that's not what we're trying to do here. What we're trying
How?
to do, because we show a lot of graphic, hard to
And then we
handle
drop white pills on
subjects.
it,
We're
though.
reviewing.
We-
I mean,
we
we're
do,
revealing
but
We're
what
the
we're-
opposite of
what we
fear
want
porn.
people
We're
to do
white
is-
pill pushers.
I understand what he's saying, though. People do say, "Why talk about that?" It's just, what can we, and that's why it's important to have.
Just
what can
don't
we
be
do about
scared.
it? Why? It's important to know why.
So that's
Why?
what we're here to do. We're here to get you to ask questions, and we're here to ask why, and what can you do?
Get that
And
noggin
Change
done.
your
We're
world.
not like your usual guys, you know. We're not like media agents or
secret Chinese spy.
I'm not
You
like
are
all the
not.
other
I know
crew.
you're a secret CIA spy.
I'm not like all the other.
I don't get
guys.
paid enough to be
He's
one.
typecast for it.
I am a little bit part Chinese, but anyways.
Based.
So what was your
my-
fortune?
So my fortune, which is really, I didn't tell you guys, I knew about this the whole time, is this right here. So
Pixar it didn't have.
this
There you
one,
go.
Failure is the chance to
do better next time. And as
Self-explanatory.
I'm not sure- yes, I failed a lot in my life. However, I learned from those experiences. Not a rabbit hole to dive into, but you know, I've been through a lot in the past coming years. One thing in which I have to work on every single day is to be honest and tell the truth. I've had a lot of things in my life where I've maybe had to fabricate or do something, and it's
We all
gonna
do, to
work,
be
you know?
honest.
I'm
Anybody who
of
says
that.
that they always tell the truth is
Yeah.
lying.
Human.
Like
We're
straight
humans.
I'm a human being. I made mistakes.
I'm sure
I
I'd
grow
bullshit
from it.
sometimes too.
Exactly.
That's why we're
I mean,
here on this earth,
Exactly.
Tyler and my friends. That's why we're here on this earth, is to
Yeah.
learn. All
We
can
always
do,
should strive to do better.
And to be tortured
the past is prologue.
by our own
And listen,
minds.
guys, even behind the scenes on this podcast, with me, Steve, Don, Damon, we're bickering each other. We're saying, "Oh, this isn't right," or "This isn't right," but we all love each other. You know, it's good because we do fail, but we do succeed. Look, we're close to 200 subscribers.
Well,
It's
actually,
amazing.
think
We're
we
killing
We
it.
are at 200 subscribers.
Yeah, we are. We are.
So
We, I
that's
think
two
we might have
shots for
crossed it.
everybody.
2 shots. Let's
Here.
go. Woo.
Yes, and we also have 66 videos. So tonight we are
Yeah.
executing Order 66.
That is fantastic.
Yeah, so kind of summing up, I've done a lot of things in my life that weren't perfect. However, I am grateful to have a podcast with you guys. I'm grateful to have my support system in my life, and you know what? I'm grateful to be alive.
I still
Amen.
can't believe you let all those orphans die in that fire, Tyler.
I know.
Well, to
We
be
can
honest,
talk about
nobody
that
really
next
missed them. But Tyler, love you too, and I am happy to be here with you as well.
All right, final
Amen.
words, everybody. Anybody else have some final thoughts here before we clock out for the night?
I don't, you know, I
I
would
can
ask what are we going to talk about next week, but I think things are moving
Yeah.
so rapidly and so crazy. We don't really know. Do we have? We've been trying to
don't
want to
know.
maybe talk about aliens, but we'll see what happens.
24-hour
know,
news
maybe-
cycle, if that.
Well, I know.
insane. We didn't
with the
even get to assassination attempts and all that stuff.
I know,
Like
it
it's
just
Whoa,
things
whoa,
are
it's just so
close.
fast.
Oh yeah, we
You're right.
only skipped the guy that run into Coachella with the guns and stuff.
Well,
but, you know.
that's.
Do we want to finish?
We'll
on
talk
that?
about that.
No, we can talk
Hold
about
on.
it.
Well, okay. Oh, you want me to like throw like a 2-minute like thing in about that?
I'm gonna play a little 30-second clip, and then we'll do one
bonus round.
Bonus round.
Bonus
And
All right.
this just into our newsroom. The Riverside County Sheriff's Department just announced an arrest from former President Donald Trump's rally in Coachella. And deputies say they arrested a 49-year-old Las Vegas man who had a loaded firearm and a high-capacity magazine. The man was arrested yesterday at a checkpoint outside the grounds of the rally. He was released on bail last night. The Sheriff's Department says the incident did not impact the safety of former President Trump or any of the attendees. Still pretty frightening.
You know, I was waiting for it. I was like, it's California. They're gonna release him at some point in this article.
Yeah,
$5,000.
within a couple seconds.
They released him on $5,000 bail.
Yes, and there's a reason for that though, because the way that this story has been situated, a lot of it's been clickbait. So a man was arrested with like firearms and stuff, but it turns out this guy, like, he's not a left winger. He's like actually, he's even friends with a lot of people on the right wing and has done like shows and stuff with them. And he had gotten arrested because he was in possession of firearms around an event. So my personal opinion,
In
facts
California.
are still coming out about this. He's on, like, it seems all facts show that he's like kind of like with us and everything. But
Total
he got
plant.
him
Control the news cycle. I'm
yes,
for it. Go Trump.
Yes. So no, it's very possible. All of this screams like hoax. This dude, by all metrics and all personal accounts, is actually a huge Trump supporter. He's been to several rallies. There's videos of him. He's actually ran for Congress there. I think this was an arrest that was not really, it wasn't congruent with any malicious activity.
So what you're telling me is the man
having
had a gun in
firearms-
California.
Yeah, pretty much. So I just want to say, like, people look into this. Facts are always changing. This is very quick cycle. We don't know everything right now, just like with, you know, the other 2 or 3 assassination attempts. But from what I've seen, things have changed
What a
so
world.
much in the first 24
What a
hours.
year.
This man
The
seems
other
like
2
he
or
might
3
be-
assassination attempts.
Yes,
And
and
there's
the
more to be
mainstream media
soon.
is trying to normalize it. They're trying to normalize it so that
Which
you're
is
numb
scary.
to when if
which
it
is
actually
really
happens.
scary. I mean, he's
Yeah.
literally flying around in decoy planes and cars and
Because
things right
they
now.
want
I mean,
it.
Yeah. So I mean, I
Yeah.
think this is the time point. Like I said, I'm cautiously optimistic. I think
Me
we should
too.
stay. You know, don't be afraid. Be hopeful.
Don't be
Hope,
afraid.
faith, and love. That's all we need in
Be,
my
be
lives,
strong
guys.
and
That's a
push
good way
forward.
to end it.
Hope, faith, and love, my
Yes.
friends. Hope, faith, and love.
See you next week, guys.
That's it.
Have a great night. Be safe.
Bye, guys.